So I'm going to talk about mammals now. We have placental mammals, and our marsupials. So we know that all mammals give birth to live young, and they're covered in hair. They're all warm-blooded. But obviously our marsupials here in Australia have a pouch. There's a few other differences that they have with their skulls as well, and so I'm going to show you some of those differences. And then later on I'll give you a skull, and you'll have to tell me from its features if it's a placental mammal. So a placental mammal would be, a dog or a cow, or if it's a marsupial, so koala, kangaroo, wallaby. So here we have our marsupial, and we have our mammal. Very similar first looking at it. But one thing we can do straight away is if we open up their heads, we're just going to turn them over. Still look very similar. Get my pointer. So you can see on this top palate all those little holes. Whereas in our mammal here, there's no holes. These little spongy holes in the palate is a defining feature of marsupials. So if you're in the bush and you see a skull, turn it over and you can work out if it's a sheep or a kangaroo. The second one that we can use to define if it's a marsupial or a mammal, we look at the lower jaw now. So I'm going to flip it that way and flip it that way. So on our marsupial here, if we tilt it up, we have a little shelf here on that lower jaw. So that shelf is also a defining feature of our marsupials. And if we tip this up, you can see that shelf. If we follow it down, it just falls all the way down. There's no shelf on that lower jaw. And our third one, which is a bit tricky to actually find, so we're going to reset our skulls here. Let's put him back like that. Okay, we're going to turn them on their sides now. So here we have our cheekbone, and we have our cheekbone here. Now I don't know if you can tell, but on our marsupial, this cheekbone joint runs all the way to the joint here, from one end to the other, and it ends where the jaw starts. Whereas on our marsupial, the cheekbone we've got here, the two cheekbones, the joint, it actually ends in the middle. So if it was a marsupial, it would end all the way where our jaw starts, but it ends in the middle. So that's another defining feature. So what you have to do is I'll give you a skull, I'll take some photos of it, and with the descriptions that I've given you today, you'll have to work out if it's a placental mammal or a marsupial. The next two animals we'll be looking at is a carnivore and a herbivore. So we've got our cat here and our rabbit. And as you can see, the two big differences are, because they have different diets, is obviously the teeth. So you can see how cats have their canines and all their incisors, and even their premolars and molars are very sharp and specialized. Whereas our rabbit's teeth here, you can see more for grinding and chewing. Even the base of the cat's skull here is different, because it's more, because they need that stronger structure for their crushing of their prey. Whereas if we turn our rabbit over, it doesn't have that strong, large structure because it's not crushing bones with its mouth. So what you'll have to do is I'll take some photos of these two specimens, and I'll need you to draw block diagrams of them. We'll have an explanation on block diagrams, and you'll need to relate the structures to their diet.